A board sits on the table. White and black squares with pieces on both sides. Someone stares, debating their next move. Then a hand reaches out and, without even touching the piece, utters the words, King to H4, and the piece moves on its own. The person sitting across from them, hovering in the air, cross-legged, looks down at the board. And a thought is heard. Queen to E4. Check. The first person smiles and responds in turn. Pawn to G4. Blocked. The hovering person thinks once more. Queen to E1. Check again. And with a smile creeping across the face of the first, leans forward and says, King to H5. And as the piece moves, the final member looks down and observes and notices there are no more options. There is nothing to be done. It is stalemate. And they would be stuck here for eternity. Therefore, they have to concede. And as they give that thought, the member across the table smiles and stands up and extends a hand to shake his opponents and says, It looks like we'll be doing things my way then. Now, Yalkur, I've told you before, you put too much stock into your knights. When I have told you time and time again, a few well-placed pawns could even stop a crown. And as he reaches forward, he grabs a pawn and begins to slide it back to its starting position. And there is a flash, and we see a wizard laying down to sleep and shutting his eyes for the final time. And from there, members tattooing the body of this fallen brethren with memories fond, and years go by. And one day, plucked from the ground, this wizard opens their eyes with newfound power. Inside of a stone castle, and someone in a robe approaches and greets them. Again, the hand reaches out and grabs another pawn and places it back on starting position. And we see a blade suspended above a performer, and it drops. But something goes wrong, and screams are heard. As a magician is decapitated and wakes up almost instantly in their mind, inside of a castle, and someone approaches them and begins speaking to them. Another pawn is moved backwards, and we see planks of wood and cannons sinking deeper into the abyss as the captain of the disgraceful dragon tries desperately to swim away from the wreckage. But something reaches up from the depths, and just before it crushes him, air fills his lungs once again. Inside that same castle. And someone approaches laughing and dusts off his hat and hands it to him. Once more, a pawn is pulled backwards and placed on the starting position. And a young cleric, treating a dying warrior on the battlefield, reaches over to grab her medic supplies, and by the time she reaches back, is no longer where she started. In a panic, finds herself in a hallway. Stone, windows that look nowhere, and she hides. And finally, one last piece to reset the board. And we see a man bleeding out on the floor as an assassin slips back out the window. His vision slowly grows dark, awakening from a decades-long slumber with an innate ability inside, hard-fought and hard-pressed. This monk finds themselves in the receiving wing of Castle Gravvicon. And over the course of 20 years from the arrival of Dr. Raphael Lorcan to a mere few hours ago at Gallagher Quickshot, the five have been summoned into a room and blindfolded and put to the test. And as the five remain and no one else in the room, a guest enters and says to them, "Well, it looks like this will be it. I placed on the robe, that way it doesn't burn your eyes as, well, that wouldn't be quite helpful, dear Taika."
Yeah, no, now that you're kind of spelling this out for me, I feel like that I probably should, and he drops detect magic. That feels so much better.
I don't want to feel like I encourage you to do anything. I simply want you to make your own choices and be allowed to feel free in that regard. So if you'd like to put it back up, and with a wave of his hand, it's back up in your eyes, you can leave it.
I'll see how long I can tough it out.
That's why I like you. And he looks now to the rest of the room, and you all recognize, we said that Dr. Raphael Lorcan recognizes the symbol of a member of the Crown, the highest ranking in Gravvicon. The members so powerful that they themselves are rumored to be able to change the fate of a god.
And Raphael, there's a level of respect. However, the title means nothing to him.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he's not going to just disrespect him in his own space, right? But he's like, well, let's not inconvenience the still newbies. Looking at Taika, even though he knows Taika's been here for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
He says, let's not hurt them too much. The question is, why or what has been done that we now are seeing you face to face?
That is a wonderful question. Always good questions, Dr. Raphael. Always good questions with you. I've enjoyed your progress while you've been here. I must say, to be honest, a bit of a game that I'm playing. And it's my turn to play. And so here we are, about to embark on an exciting venture. And I see you seem to be getting along quite well, Proxima, as he looks back at the seated tiefling changeling at the back of the room with Bucket and Gallagher and Taika surrounding you, and an owl there as well.
The owl's gone.
The owl's gone? Okay.
Yeah. He bumped him out. He'll bounce him back. How about that?
Yeah, Plague is still just chilling on Bucket's shoulder just right now.
Plague the cat is there. And so, yeah, I see you're finding your way around, Proxima.
Well, no thanks to you. Able to find a couple of friends here. But I would point out that perhaps approaching us and telling us that you have answers is less useful than letting us ask a few questions ourselves, because I don't want to speak for these fine people, but I have many, even from the short time that I've been here, and I do not like any of this. I want to go home.
Oh, well, there's always that option. You could always go home, and that is a thing we are capable of. I admit I'm not capable of ensuring that that path leads to answers, but it does lead home. And if home is the ultimate destination, then of course you could go there. But if answers are sought, I'm afraid that destination does not go straight home.
I want you to know, right as you said this, a very real ominous clap of thunder just happened in the background, and it freaked me out a lot. That's a real thing that just happened.
Well, I do like to make an entrance.
No, that was very impressive. I'm impressed by that. I suppose what I want to know is why? Why should any of us agree to help you?
Well, it's not so much me. And the room shifts. And you are standing at what feels like the top of the castle now, looking out at space. But you can see vaguely overlapped over each and every angle a different world, or what seems like fractured glass as you're looking through 1,000 windows. And he says, so there's that one there, and it shatters. And they're just about to uncover, and it melts away. Oh, hate when that happens. Now, these folks here are actually just about to travel, and they're doing quite, and they explode, and a wave of these fractures of glass of these different worlds just vanish.
I think your window's broken.
It is indeed. And that's a little bit of the problem. Because actually, you, my dear Gallagher, you come from that one. And Proxima, that one is yours. Bucket, I believe yours is, that one's over there. Yes. And Dr. Raphael, yours is gone already. Unfortunate. It seems that, and Taika, yours is off somewhere in those that are melting together. Now, this is not necessarily happening in this very moment, but this is giving you a peek at the outcome of a few actions. And left unchecked, actions have consequences, and consequences can be minor, or they can be, well, world-shattering. I like to adjust consequences. And the game is how much can I adjust them down?
Ah, you're a professional meddler.
I do quite like that.
You know, I knew a guy who was a professional meddler. He died.
Are you speaking about yourself?
No, but I could have been. I was a professional bullshitter. I don't do that anymore. I only tell the truth. Or at least what
I
I
don't
think
even
is
need
the
to roll
truth.
an inside check to know that's a bullshit.
I do love that game. A conundrum is one of my favorite pastimes.
At that, Gallagher's just gonna crawl up onto Bucket's back and just like crouch there. Maybe
Like
act
Yoda, like Yoda backpack
Yeah.
style.
Yeah.
And
It's
suddenly
okay,
your back warped down into that room that you were. If things go one way, perhaps none of that happens. You can never be certain. Everything is a bit of chance, but adjustments are my specialty.
How do you know that we will always break the right window? How do you know that what we do here will not hurt someone so much farther down the line?
Oh, you never know, Proxima. But you can do very, very good guesswork. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I'm not the only one. We've learned from mistakes, we've learned from others, and my goal is to ensure that as few windows break as possible. That's my entire existence.
You said you want to minimize consequences. Whose consequences are you trying to?
Well, Bucket, it would be silly of me to say that some of them aren't our own. But on that token, there are many who seek the use of Gravvicon, who seek the use of this place, and the consequences of the world left unchecked. For the most part, we want to ensure they go about their universes as they see fit. But when they bleed into others and they show an outline that says the end of everything, we try to steer them a little bit away from that to go on just a bit longer. So the consequences can be anyone's. They could
But
be
you-
yours.
But you exist outside of all of these realities. Why care about a special few? As you said, it seems so inconsequential.
Well, much like yourself, you didn't exist outside of them to begin with. And neither do we.
Why us? Why now? I mean, I've been doing missions. Like I've never even seen you before.
And frankly, sometimes that's best. But to answer the question, I apologize, but it's quite cliche. It is the right place at the right time. And he motions down to the floor. And at this point, you can see where you are all standing. There is a circle that you have each managed to step inside, faintly carved into the ground of this room. You are who ended up in the right place at the right time. Therefore, it is the probability that you are the most successful, as far as everything I see says.
If that is the case, well, I don't mind it myself. The ultimate question is, what exactly do we do?
Ah, well, that's the fun part. We're never certain 100%, but how would you feel about going on a treasure hunt?
Treasure, you say? That's
I thought
conspiracy.
you might enjoy that, my seafaring friend. Now, this will bring you to a location that is in need of a little push. And simply, you need to help find something. But I'm not 100% certain what it is. But your presence and your influence on it ultimately helps steer things in the right direction.
Gotta find a MacGuffin.
If that's how you'd like to describe it, then yes.
Oh, it's 100% a MacGuffin.
No,
It's
no, he's right.
100%.
He's right.
It sounds like time is of the essence. So,
Good
You're a
pun.
time wizard. That's funny.
I do love that joke. I'll tell you about it yesterday.
I'm sure you will. We should go then, or is there something else you wish to fill us in on? I don't mind talking, really, but
No, not at all. I simply needed to assemble the best sorted group for it, and it seems that's you. Now, typically we don't do this sort of thing, but I'll be seeing you off personally, if you don't mind.
Doc is going to turn his gaze towards Proxima, and he's going to like smile and nod at her. And as he does, he simply says in her mind, "You do not have to go if you are weary. I know this is new to you, but it was new to me too, and I am willing to assist, though this seems specific."
Proxima squares her shoulders and she looks at Doc. And she kind of looks around at the other three people and she looks at the crown guy whose name I totally remember. And she
He hasn't given it.
I was right. And she just extends a hand to Doc, kind of wordlessly. And just
He'll like flick his wrist, and a mage hand will come off and shake it back. But it is not like don't touch me, peasant. But it's just no point to exert more effort than necessary. So
Proxima kind of rolls her eyes, but like deep down, she like acknowledges like the humor in that, and she's like, I will go, but can I ask that if we do become, and she looks over at Gallagher and she says, if we do become professional meddlers. Let's try not to die.
Yeah, I'd hate for that to happen again for all of you. I'm sure that would be atrocious, honestly.
I do not fear death.
That's
There's
pretty
nothing else to
scary.
that statement.
Awesome.
You are a bold one, my friend.
Well, then, Bucket, would you mind? And he motions towards your sword.
I mean, of course. And can I teleport it to my hand?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna snatch it in the air, so it's just disappear and just appear in my hand.
Why is everyone here such a goddamn show off?
I'm not
Can you
showing
just use
off.
your hands? We have hands. We can just use our hands. It's fine.
Listen,
I use my
I'm
hands
lazy.
for this.
I want to be lazy. All right. Let me be. All right.
So I'm gonna take my sword. I'm gonna like look at it a little bit, and I'm gonna like do the cool sheathing. And I'm like,
So I guess we're a crew now, aren't we?
Can I be first mate?
I don't think we really have a captain, but sure. Yeah, sure. If that will make you happy.
and I'm
Tattoo
gonna
man's
like pat the side of your head like this, like as you're on my back.
I'm gonna give you head scratches. Be like,
I'm like, don't mess up the hat. Don't mess up the hat.
oh, I'm sorry.
And as he advances, he steps forward, and you've got the sword in hand, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And he reaches out and taps the point of it. And slowly melting from the sword comes color. Blue light starts wrapping and weaving around. Whoop. Lost Katie there.
Oh no, I think Katie's power went out.
She's in the middle of a massive storm.
Yeah.
So they'll be back.
Okay. So blue light starts wrapping around the sword, making its way all the way down until finally the entire thing is glowing. Now, this will be most interesting as you'll be going, I suppose, home, Bucket. But not exactly. You'll get it when you get there. But do enjoy. And as I said, while I may not be entirely certain as to what it is you'll need, I am certain you'll know it when you get there.
Well then, moment is then. Make sure to take off your shoes before you go through the door, will you guys?
Wait.
And-
Wear shoes.
When is home? And Taika pulls out like a scraggled piece of paper that just has a bunch of dates and crosses out written on it. When are we going?
And looking at Taika, he smiles and says, "Not just yet."
Taika just has a very kind of put out look on his face and puts a check mark on the piece of paper and puts it back in his pocket.
And as you are there and set, the sword begins to glow, and he says to you all, "Well, it has been an absolute pleasure, and I'll be seeing you." And you all begin to feel sleepy. And one by one, you pass out. But everyone roll a Constitution saving throw.
Now, sir.
We can use physical dice, correct?
Yep, you can use physical dice.
Oh, baby.
I'm just.
Let's
gonna be-
go.
I got a 22.
That is an 11.
This
I-
is a 5.
I got
Okay.
a 17 for me.
Yeah, CB.
I am
Okay.
old man.
And how about for our lovely Proxima? What was Proxima's Constitution
Think
saving throw? She's grabbing
She's,
guys.
Proxima's
she's
Katie,
doing-
we can't hear you.
She has audio issues.
That's okay.
Do you have like, are you connected to Bluetooth to any headphones or something? The headphones are in another room.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
There's an echo.
Sorry.
Yep.
Oh boy. Sorry, you guys, my power went out.
Zep, are we able to catch that echo? Is that on our end or is that on Katie's?
If we're all hearing it, I believe that it is on Katie's end.
I'm so sorry.
No worries, no worries.
Look, we are in a pan.
Okay, how about now? Can
Express
you
right
hear
now.
me? No, that's still echoey.
Still echoing.
Oh,
100%.
boy.
The echo.
Actually, let's.
Cat isn't hearing an echo, so
Oh,
it's
then it is.
Then it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
let
okay.
me- Oh, it's.
Okay, I'm really sorry.
Katie, stop apologizing. Shit
No, you're
happens.
golden.
I'm personally responsible for the weather, so
yeah. Why
yep.
didn't you
God
go?
damn it, Sky!
Why
Katie,
didn't you go talk to Zeus?
Katie
I
is
know.
going to go away for a second, and then she will come back and hopefully
Cool.
have.
okay,
no
bye.
echo.
This is going to be an interesting part of the podcast. Wait, do you have Zencaster open, Katie?
I don't know if I can run both at the same time. I tried to open it and then it wasn't working. So let me see.
It's like one of the things that's like, ah! It cuts out.
Yeah.
While we're dealing with this, big shout out to Lark Network. If you're here, make sure you follow and or
Yes.
subscribe. You are supporting a really cool organization company, putting on stuff like this and bringing together really cool people to
Yeah, thank you very
play
much.
some D&D. So
Mhm.
push that subscribe button, and if you are already subscribed and you want to support, go ahead and gift us up. I think we should start a hype train. Personally, that's just what I feel.
I will
You know-
start if people start spamming buckets in chat, I will gift 5 people. I will gift 10 gifted subs. I'll give 10 gifted subs. Why not?
Ooh, we got a
And give
posture
subs.
wiggle.
That's a yo spam bucket, guys. I'm gonna
spam bucket
spam
emotes. Bucket emotes, and I will give 10 subs. Seen lots of buckets. Seen some buckets. If we can get some
Yo.
more, I'll give 10 gifted subs.
Okay, Katie, I don't think I heard the echo.
Katie, can you talk?
There we go.
Oh yeah, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Wonderful. Yes.
No
Yeah,
echo.
No echo for us.
Oh my god.
That's some-
you
that's
guys,
some
I'm
buckets.
so
Time to get some
embarrassed.
10
I'm
gifted-
so
Oh.
sorry.
Katie, stop apologizing. You're fine.
Yeah, Katie. How
I'm supposed to
dare
be rolling-
you?
How
There's
dare
something,
you
right?
have the weather? Fuck
I
your
know.
electricity. How dare you?
I know.
This is
Sure,
all
got
of
my
your fault. And there you
got my
go,
little,
10
like,
gifted subs.
Ah, well, thank you very
battery
much.
LED lights.
Right.
Let's start that
yeah.
hype train. If y'all could keep it going with
A
some bits and
train.
stuff, that would be amazing.
If you keep the hype train going, I will personally write Danny a fan fiction for him to read.
On his next
I'll
read
give some
stream.
subs too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. So let's see. So, what did Proxima roll?
She rolled an 8.
An 8. Okay. So, first in the order, as the sleep begins to hit Dr. Raphael Lorcan, perhaps surrendering to it or
Bye.
just feels
I'll see ya.
a sleep happen. And you actually sense something unique in this moment as you feel something about your very magic that you now have. It's like that was affected, like that was just a knob turned off for a moment and you gone. Next in the order, Proxima, you feel something internal as well as you begin to get sleepy, but there is a flash for a moment and there's a changeling that flashes in your mind. White hair and starry cosmos beneath their skin. And you pass out. Then Gallagher, as you are on the back of Bucket, feel yourself get heavier and you begin to fall.
As he's
Thank you for
falling,
those
could I
gifted
catch him
subs.
and princess lower him to the ground?
Yeah, absolutely, Bucket. You're able to catch him and lower him as Gallagher, you begin to fade out. And as you do, you have that memory of your death. And you see through your eyes once again as the assassin is leaving. And you see their black boots with a red piece of leather wrapped around both ankles. And that's the last thing you see as you too pass out.
Such terrible fashion sense.
Taika, watching all of this, you see them all begin to fall, and your moment kicks in now as you too begin to fall. And you see a moment where you are first meeting one of your tech members for your show. You remember the moment that you shook their hands. What was their name?
David.
And you remember shaking David's hand. And what race was David?
Human.
And as you shake David's hand, you're having this moment of they've agreed they're going to work with you. And that's the last face you saw as you turned your head, realizing you were about to die as that blade came. And you too pass out.
And as Taika's head hits the ground, he just mutters, it wasn't your fault.
And you pass out with those words, followed then finally by Bucket. And Bucket being the last one, there's a moment as all of your teammates have fallen slowly but surely out. And you have the sword that is glowing, and a beam sort of radiates off of it and points in a direction. And you feel yourself getting quite sleepy. And as you go to fall asleep, you hit the ground and you look up at this hooded figure. And as they place their hood up, there is a flash, and you have a memory of being a child and a hooded, mysterious figure speaking to you. And that was the day you became a fallen Aesimer.
It was
And you
you.
pass out. And as you find yourself stirring, first in the order in that same, Raphael and Proxima wake up. And you look around you and you see the other three are there, and Bucket still holding a blue glow on a sword as you are all laying in what seems to be thick trees around you, and you're in a clearing. What do you two do?
I am never used to that one.
Are you all right?
Oh, I'm fine. I may be old, but I keep my physique in shape. Ugh! That's like you hear his back cracks. And he'll stand up, and if you aren't up yet, he will help you up.
Right. Do you do this often?
Often, not necessarily, but I've done it enough. Or at least I've traveled this way enough. I just tend to give in nowadays.
I think at this point, like Proxima's done like the casual conversation, and she's feeling stressed about now being again in another location where she's just like unfamiliar with what is going on. Can I roll just like a basic perception check just to see if there's anything like imminently dangerous that she notices?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and roll a perception check.
8 plus 2, that's 10.
So that perception check, you're hearing the standards of a forest. You're hearing, birds. You hear the sounds of the people around you who are sleeping or whatever state they're in. You can hear some rushing water nearby, but there seems to be no danger apparent to you.
Okay.
And it is daylight.
Okay. Proxima's gonna look at Doc and say, do you think we should try to wake up the others?
Is just Bucket here right now, right? Or are they all here yet?
All of you are here. Yep.
Okay. No, he watches and says, it's best to let them rise naturally.
In the next
Though you see his mage hand starts to rise and just almost attempt to smack Gallagher awake from the snoring, but it slowly dissolves away.
and
Gallagher's awake. He's doing this to be annoying.
yeah, Gallagher is the next one to wake up.
Ah, you know, I knew I would be surrounded by trees. I had a feeling. I think the feeling was smelling the trees.
Gets up and he cracks his back.
By the way, Bucket, you don't need to catch me. I can't die by falling.
Bucket hears none of that, as Taika is the next to wake up.
Oh, was that Raphael? Was this a little bit worse than normal, huh?
A little, but hey, you can handle it, right?
No, I forgot I had detect magic up still. I'd never let it. Oh, that's why my head hurts so bad. I'm gonna take a little while to come out of that. Proxima, are you okay?
Yes, I guess.
Yeah, you seem better than me, honestly.
Well,
You should probably take off
there's
detect
a
magic.
certain resilience that one develops. But do you need a hand? Can I help you with anything?
Yeah, please. And he reaches up his arm.
Yeah, Proxima reaches down and it's a cool, like the cool forearm grab. It's
Mhm.
very important to me that everyone knows that it's a cool forearm grab.
So it's like the Arnold thing, like you son of a bitch, and like they do like a thing.
Yeah, it's like the four, and she's like, just.
Can I insight
and with,
check?
Surprising strength, pulls him up.
Can I
Oh,
insight check to see
perfect.
how cool this actually is, though? Like, how cool does it look?
You know what? Here's what I'll have you do. Roll a flat d20 to decide how much Gallagher personally feels it's cool. That does not mean that it isn't, but it'll be Gallagher's internal decision.
I am perfectly happy with this. It's a 3. Gallagher thinks it's stupid, but he appreciates the camaraderie.
Yeah. Because Gallagher has 4 arms that he can utilize. It's like, help yourself up.
Yeah, and
I could just pick myself up anytime I want. I can baby carry.
you totally bring Taika up super easily. Taika is not strong, so he is easily able to be whipped up.
So yeah, 100% between the two of you, it was super cool. To Gallagher's own personal taste, he's like, I don't know, why was that?
I don't get it.
Like,
While this is happening, Doc does head over and just stands over Bucket to make sure he's good once he starts to get up.
yeah, and how do you do that? You said you just stand over him. Do you help him at all?
Well, because he's not awake yet, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
correct.
No, he's just making sure that it does happen. Because if it doesn't happen, then he'll actually wake him up.
Yeah.
But he's waiting.
And Bucket now begins to wake as well.
When Bucket gains consciousness, he kind of just jerks up and he's very concerned and very confused about what he saw before he passed out. Because now his world is a lie. He doesn't know what he thinks. So he's very concerned. And he's holding the sword in one hand and he's like, and he looks up at Doc and he's just like, "You're not a therapist, doctor, are you?"
I don't have the official credentials now, but in my time, it did happen.
I'll take you up on that later then. Bucket's gonna get up. Bucket's gonna get up and he's gonna look at his sword because he remembers the beam of light pointing in a direction. So he's gonna see if there's any kind of light coming from the blade going in a different direction at this time.
And there is the glow on the sword now that you have awoken and are fully here. The glow fades away.
Blue wasn't my color anyways, and he's gonna sheath it.
Excellent. And so now the 5 of you stand in a clearing. Roll a perception check, everyone.
Ooh, nat 20 right when I need it. 28.
Ooh!
Nice.
Ooh.
19
I
for
got
me.
22, but it's not a natural.
7.
11.
Okay. So yeah, with we said Gallagher got a 20, 8, and then we had, what did Proxima get? It was a 20.
It was a 18 plus 2. Did you see it
Okay.
on the D&D Beyond? I'm trying to get everything reset up. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no problem. Yep. And so we got you there on that. And then we have, what did Bucket get?
7.
Okay. And 11 for Doc?
Yeah.
Okay. And how about Taika?
Taika got a 19.
Okay. So Taika and Gallagher and Proxima are in this because Bucket and Doc is there to like help Bucket up. They're kind of focused in that moment with this conversation. And in that brief second there, the three of you heard what sounded like the moving of wheels of like a wagon, something on the road.
Something is coming. You hear that? Am I there?
That's definitely 100% a wagon.
Yes. Well,
Should
I
we
have
go
looked-
say hi?
I was going to suggest we take cover and let them pass. But two types of people in the world. That's fine.
Do Doc and I hear this?
Yeah, you guys are right there. So you'll hear them start saying it. You just didn't hear the initial rolling of the things right away.
Okay.
Is it coming toward us, Corso, or is it like to the side of us? Like,
So yeah, especially with a 28, you can tell it is through the trees on what would be your right. And so and you can hear it at this point sort of passing.
I'm gonna turn to like there's a wagon.
Is 100% a wagon, and it's to the right of us through those trees. That means that
Listen.
there's a road there, and I'm pretty sure that means that we're near civilization.
Listen,
We lucked
I
out.
don't know when we are, but this is my homeland. If we're unable to find that wagon and ask where we are, I could pinpoint where we are in the continent. We might be able to find a way to a town.
In case they're a threat, I'm gonna whip out my lightsaber.
And he takes his quarterstaff off his belt. Activates Shillelagh.
All right, let's go say hi.
And he starts
Before we go anywhere,
Yes.
some of you are new, and this is not to be condescending, but we are in a place that is not our own. Even if it was once yours, Bucket, we have to tread with caution. Tell me, what do people normally look like around here? What is the typical wear?
None of us are like look extraordinarily like out of the norm, right?
Correct.
Except
You-
me because of my stuff.
Yeah. And so changelings are known here, and so are most of the races here. There are a few that you might have seen in Gravvicon that struck you as strange, but none of them are amongst your party.
You are all fine. None of us are out of the quote unquote social norm.
At hearing you say this, Proxima still kind of like slouches inwardly, and she reaches back behind her and she flips up this big hood that's attached to her jacket, and she covers up her horns. So she's got like a cool, like, and she's just like, you can barely see her head peeking out from underneath, and she kind of slouches down, hands in her pockets.
If you want me to, we could, if Gallagher and I could sneak ahead, or Taika and someone could go sneak ahead and we could check out the wagon to see who it is.
Doc, I have a question before we go anywhere.
Yes.
Bucket, you said that this is your homeland and you do not
Apparently.
know when or where. So what do we do if someone recognizes you? Aren't you dead?
Yes, but I don't think people. If we're before, then when I'm dead, then no one will recognize me because I either won't exist yet or will be too young to be recognizable. If we're after the fact, well, hopefully it'll be too long in the future for people to remember my name. I wasn't exactly significant in my time.
Doc, have you ever run into this problem before with Gravvicon? What do we do in a situation like this? Do you know?
This is very new to me. It's been a while since I've been home. In fact,
You
I've
know-
never been home since I died.
No, I'm sorry. I was asking Doc.
Oh.
He has been around for longer than you. I know you are no kid like me. It's fine.
Before I answer, and he looks at Gallagher because Gallagher wanted to say something.
Out of an abundance of caution, I am proficient with disguise kits of various kinds from back when I was a heathen. I may remember a thing or two if you would like to change up Bucket's appearance, as charming as he is.
How famous was he? Were you famous?
Bucket,
People
on
know
like a
you?
scale of 1 to 10, how famous were you? Be honest. Don't exaggerate to sound cool.
And don't lie to me.
I mean,
no.
Corso, how well known was Bucket? Because again, he did participate in Melee Ball, and I don't know.
Roll a d20.
Uh-oh.
I guess we'll find out.
Let's hope.
That is a 2.
Okay. So amongst things, Bucket got a fan base. Bucket had that hearty crew and a great amount of folks. But as you left your family and stopped being the golden child because of the events of being transformed, Bucket didn't have the notoriety, especially as you didn't use your family name. You didn't do anything of the sort. You became the captain of the disgraceful dragon, and as far as you can tell, you died before anything great.
There you go. I wasn't exactly popular. I'd give it probably like a 2-1, something like that. I died before I did anything important with my life.
I would still like to insight check this all the same.
Yeah.
Give it about a 2 out of 20.
Yeah.
No shit. I nat 20'd again. That is going to be another 28.
Yeah, and you can read for sure that like he's speaking as plainly and honestly as he can.
I corroborate and be like, he's telling the truth. This guy was an absolute nobody, loser.
Thank you, Gallagher. Now get on my back. We have work to do.
I crawl out. It's good scratch.
If you believe that this will not be a problem, then to answer the question, it should not be a problem, Proxima. And if it is, I'm sure a bishop or a knight will know about it before we do.
That makes sense. All right. Do you guys just want to go?
You see, I actually don't really see it because he has clothes on, but there's a soft light that emanates around the small of his back, and then you start to hear the tick of a clock, and it starts at the bottom of his feet and goes all the way up to his head as he casts mage armor. And he says, "Well," and he looks at Bucket. "After you."
Let's say hello then.
And
All
So
right,
I
what
guess-
are you doing?
as you
I guess
guys
we're.
walk,
Do we
sorry.
wait? Do we want to?
Sorry, do we want to sneak up on them, or do we want to just go out and say hello?
I would postulate that ambushing a group of strangers is maybe not the best way to introduce ourselves.
Not
but that's-
ambushing, but just to make sure they're not a threat. And if they are, well then an ambush is in order.
Yeah. Okay.
Why don't we try sneaking up at least to the road, and then we'll say hello. Best
Okay.
of both worlds.
And what was Taika saying he's doing on the way?
Gallagher, here, catch. And he pulls out a deck of cards, does like a big flourishy shuffle, and then pulls an ace of spades and throws it to Gallagher.
Catch it.
And that is a bardic inspiration. And if you let it go,
That's cool. As fuck.
it starts hovering around you, and that is the moat of potential. That
I'm so proud.
basically makes any roll that you do better, and I will tell you when that happens.
Excellent.
Yo. Gallagher's like, this is a vibe. I'm appreciative of this.
I give you a fist bump, and I cast guidance on you.
Boom.
Okay,
Sweet.
so we've decided we're doing what?
We're sneaking to the road, and then once we get to the road, we'll be like, hello!
Yeah, sure. So everyone just go ahead and roll a stealth check real quick. As you make your way through the couple of trees that seem to be
F
between
you.
you.
Let's say Taika wants to be like in the furthest back. Like
Wait, is Gallagher? Are you gonna stand my back or no?
As we were sneaking, I'm gonna hop on my own 2 feet, and I'm gonna start crawling along the
I
floor.
thought this man was about to say hop on my own back.
Yeah.
I hop on my own.
it's
back,
a
feet
complex
overhead.
maneuver.
Scorpion.
Okay,
So
so what did we get for Doctor?
11.
11. Okay. What did we get for Gallagher?
21.
Okay. What did we get for Bucket?
17.
Or Taika?
19.
And Proxima.
16.
Okay.
All right. Excellent. So yeah, you all sneak, and you're undetected by anything, and you get to the edge of the clearing. And sure enough, a little bit farther down the road now, because that took you, a moment to discuss your tactic and then walk up, you see a wagon pulling into what looks like a town up ahead. It's you're about a city's blocks worth out of town.
Gallagher looks back at the party with like a, oh.
I say we go into town and say hello and introduce ourselves. Miss Doc, you have objections? I feel like I'm taking the lead here and I have no idea what I'm doing.
I also want you to know, just because I'm the oldest and I've been here for quite some time, I'm not going to always be the one to lead either. This is a group effort, so I'd still look at Bucket. This is your home.
Do I recognize the town or any landmarks around? I guess it's I don't know exactly the time period, but is there anything that I could use to recognize the town?
Not from this distance, as the town itself is just, it looks like a small little town, and there are thousands of those, but you might be able to tell a little more once you actually knew where and what.
All right, then I guess we should approach.
So again, while we're walking up, I'll keep trying to recognize wherever we are.
Cool.
As we start to walk to, I will flick my wrist, and Galileo will summon and fly over, and just kind of keep up in the sky.
Okay.
Watching it down.
I want Plague to start jumping at the owl because Plague got excited by a bird. Plague's just on the ground like, yeah.
You see Galileo, you kind of swoop down next to Plague. Fly by, so you can't get him. But
and so you guys are able to summon those, and you're able to walk towards the city, and you're actively what was your passive Doc? Perception?
Oh. No, 15.
Okay. What's everybody's passive perception?
18 for
13.
Taika.
18.
A great question. 14.
All right. So you said Taika and Gallagher have 18?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So as you all are walking into town, the two of you are, I think Bucket's in the lead here, and Taika, you said you want to be at the back?
Yep. In the back.
Okay. And so as you're at the back, Gallagher, where would you be in this lineup?
I'd be like right behind Bucket.
Okay. And as you're walking in, Bucket, maybe focus straight ahead on things. There is a board as you're walking into town, and there are several postings pinned to it. And your eyes, both Taika and Gallagher, happen to catch on a very particular one of an image of a cat with what looks like a piece of paper in its mouth, and written on this are the words, Gravvicon will lead. And then there is something scribbled at the bottom, and it looks like there's like cut slits.
Was it like the phone number, like tear off things?
Gallagher's gonna immediately just veer off course. Like if we're all marching together, just be like, oh, what's that? And I'm gonna go over and examine what it says. I call like the little slits and whatnot and get a closer look at it all.
And it reads, now that you're up close, it says, Gravvicon will lead, with the cat in the center with a piece of paper in its mouth. And it says at the smaller printing that was hard to see from a distance, find me, and we shall discover it. And written beneath it is a symbol, and on all of these cut pull tabs, there is just this same symbol, and it is what looks like the shape of an eye, and then what looks like a trident, inside of that eye?
I take one for myself, and then to the rest of the party, I give like a.
Tell you, found something. My keen eyes have discovered something that I think is what I would like to call foreshadowing.
The poster is the Gravvicon Order will lead. There's a cat with a paper in its mouth, and then there's the symbol underneath on these tabs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna like pull up Plague in like my hand. I'm gonna hold him by the scruff of his neck, and I'm like, Plague, look for any other cat that might look like this, will you? And I'm gonna put him on the ground and like shoo him into the town before us to see if he can scout out beforehand.
Okay, yeah. And so you're gonna let Plague go into the town?
Yes.
Okay, and you can see through Plague's eyes, right?
Up to like 60 feet, I'm pretty sure.
As an action, you may see through their eyes, and the distance is 100 feet.
100 feet, thank you.
Yes,
Nice.
and at the end of the turn, you will return. Your vision will return as well.
Okay. And so yeah, you're able to send Plague on into town.
Mhm.
And
I still need to know what Plague sounds like, because he can talk to me telepathically.
do you want to Plague to be your voice, or do you want me to handle Plague?
I want you to be Plague. I want to
Okay.
hear what you do with it.
Okay. So yeah, Plague goes. Do you want them to go beyond the 60 feet and like go into town for a minute and then just report back?
Yeah,
or
and
do
then
you
when
wanna
something
be able to
happens, like, like communicate with me and like I found them, or like come back and like I didn't.
Okay. And so, and are they able to telepathically talk? What's the distance that can be done? Because I know you can see through theirs at.
Find Familiar is such an interesting spell because it gives you distances for everything but how far away they can be.
I have it. It says while your familiar is within 100 feet of you, you can communicate with it telepathically.
Gotcha.
Additionally, as an action, you can see through your familiar's eyes and hear what it hears until the start of your next turn, gaining the benefits of any special senses that the familiar has. During
Okay.
this time, you are deaf and blind with regard to your own senses. However, it does not say that this thing will disappear if it's gone too far away.
No,
It
yeah,
goes
that's what I'm
right
saying.
away.
That's why I love the spell. It's like there's actually no distance. I mean, there's no cap on the distance. However, there's a cap on how far you can go and speak with it and
Cool.
interact with it.
Cool.
Okay.
If Plague finds a cat with a paper in its mouth or something of that nature, like a sign or a symbol like that, I want Plague to come back within the 100-foot radius and tell us, and then have us, and then I'll like look through it and like find it, and then I'll get Mr. Stanman over here to carry me.
Okay, yeah. So Plague goes into this town and just kind of strolls in and does a little cat thing and looks around. And after 5 or so minutes, maybe is the routine, Plague returns. And once they enter within
Just see
100
this, we
feet
see
of
these
you,
black cat trotting out of the front gates of this town, just all alone.
Yeah. and as Plague gets out of this, gets within your 100-foot range, you can hear it in your mind as Plague responds to you of, yeah, it seems like there's a couple of those posters in there. But yeah, I'm not really seeing that symbol anywhere. Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks, Plague. And I'm gonna like he'll like run over to me and he'll like jump up my arm and come back out of my shoulder.
Yeah, no problem. A couple of other cats, but don't worry, it won't be a problem. Promise.
Oh God, Plague, not again.
Flag is Kronk.
He just licks like some blood off his like paw. I'm just like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, he could have been something like this, but we went somewhere else today.
again, Plague. Okay, Plague in like the actual TV show, he sounds like this, and he's like Camembert. That's what he sounds like.
So yeah, I appreciate him sounding like this. This is nice. So yeah, that's what Plague tells you, is that those posters seem to be hung up in several spots, but there's no like the actual symbol doesn't seem to have anything to do with the town itself.
All right, I reiterate that to the rest of the party.
Okay.
You have to be clear. You can talk to the cat and the cat talks back.
Yes.
That's cool as hell, man.
I know. Do you want to pet him? Do you want to pet
Yeah,
him?
yeah. Can I pet your cat? Is
Yeah,
that
you
all right?
can.
Okay,
You can
cool.
pet
Thank
him.
you.
Strange that this cat has sentience and we're treating it like a pet.
Like, yeah, maybe I should I just ask the cat? I feel like that's the more important. Mr. Cat, may I pet you?
And Bucket hears in his mind, yeah, sure, why not? But at this point, you're not really able to hear anything I'm saying. So honestly, this is kind of a waste of time that could have been spent petting me. And yet here we are having me try to communicate to someone where I'm unable to do that. Oh, wow, look at this.
He's
And that's what
complaining. He's
Bucket
complaining
hears.
that you can't hear. He's complaining that you can't hear him. So you should stop bothering
Oh,
talking to him because you
okay.
can't understand him. So just
Okay.
pet him.
That's fine. You know when you can tell that somebody really, really loves animals? Like they just like see a cat or they see a dog. Like I want to be very Proxima has no chill now that she knows that like she can just pet a cat whenever she wants. Like she's just instant complete character change. And she's just like got this cat. And she's like, cool. All right.
Like
I just want to know that Galileo has flown back down, and it's like this moment where Galileo and Doc just kind of look at each other and then look back and just like shake their head at the same time.
That's a
Wow.
wonderful moment.
I see no reason why we can't just stroll into town now and ask around. See, we're travelers. We've traveled far. That's not a lie. That's the truth.
Might as well.
Yes, that makes the most sense. But perhaps we stick together.
Yeah.
Gallagher's gonna like spin his quarterstaff in his hand and he's gonna use it like a good old walking stick. He's like,
Wait, isn't it still like a lightsaber?
it's no longer a lightsaber.
Oh,
That only
okay.
lasts a minute.
Oh, okay.
And so you're going to walk in, you said you're walking into town?
Stroll into town, and if I pass
Go
by
on in.
anybody, I'd like to ask them a question.
Yeah, so as you head in, there are folks that are just, working in the yard on, their home, and there's someone else who seems to be walking out. They're leading their horse instead of riding it just yet. They're maybe stretching their legs, but they're walking out and they're about to pass you.
Excuse me. Excuse me, travelers.
Yes.
Hi. My name's unimportant. I'm me and my group of friends here. We're travelers from a faraway place, and I would love to know, what is this town that is before my eyes?
For a guy named Unimportant, that would definitely make sense to ask a very, very weird question. Okay. Yeah, the town, do you need, you're not from around here?
No, I've traveled from quite far.
I show my feet that are like wrapped in like these ragged old foot wraps, but they've got these thick calluses. My guy built like a monster truck on those toes. Grip is what he's got there. And then he goes,
Yeah, I've traveled quite far, actually, so...
Okay. Well, the town is Bramble.
Ramble.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Not really, but yeah.
can I insight check that?
Yeah, sure, if you want.
What does that
You're the
mean?
CEO of Insight Checks.
CEO. That's a 25.
Yeah, no, this dude was walking out and you're like, my name is Unimportant. What is this town? And he's like, what? Like, he's very thrown up. He seems to be like just kind of a little confused, and he's like, this is Bramble. Like,
I had another weird question. This one's probably the weirdest one I could ask. You've been most kind to me. What's your name, if you don't mind my asking?
Can I
is
follow up
this
by
the part where I tell you that my name is important?
It could be, if you'd like.
and I'm gonna follow up
Like, we also are wondering if you have a family.
Okay,
We're
now you're
not-
creeping me out.
Not that one, actually. Don't mind him. His name is even less important than mine. You see, I'm wondering, what is the current year or time measurement? You see, where we come from, it's a little bit different, and I'm just trying to compare notes.
Are you referring to the date, or are you referring to the
The date.
time of day?
The date would be nice.
Doc walks over and says, "My deepest apologies. I believe these two have been lost for so long and they are unwell. Please go on about your day. Again, deepest apologies. And if we haven't talked about gold, we literally talked about this earlier, but he's going to toss a gold to the individual.
Excellent. And he'll catch it and go, okay, yeah. All right. And just starts to walk off. And he goes, I can't just. You really don't know? It's 1045 PF. You don't know that? 1045 PF? And to Bucket.
Yeah.
So to Bucket and to Taika, this time frame for you, Taika, this actually puts you about 30 years out.
After
30 years prior.
Prior, okay.
And for Bucket, this puts you about 100 prior.
Interesting. Well, now that we're in the town, do I recognize it at all, or no?
Yeah. So now that you're here, and now that you've seen some of the things, this would be like a history check, I think.
History? Okay.
Yeah. Give me some history for you to understand where you're from.
Got you. 17.
Okay. So with the way this person was talking and a quick glance at the space and hearing the name Bramble, you realize you're in the land of knowledge. In the world of Lark, this continent here is called Celeste, and there are 12 countries, and each land is named after a major arcana, and you are within the one named after knowledge.
Where was Bucket born? And like, which land was he born in?
You know what? You tell me real quick. There are the 12 arcana: war, light, death, life, trickery, knowledge, order. Gosh, I'm forgetting the other ones. Forge and grave.
Well, I guess the most important question is, which one has the most prominent elf population?
They're kind of all over, but I would say grave or arcana.
Let's go with Arcana then. So is Bucket familiar at all with the land?
You're from the other side of the world.
Got it. So I'm not familiar with the land of knowledge.
Yep.
All right, but I do recognize it. So
yeah, it's like East Coast to West Coast.
All right, so now that we kind of know where we are, I'll be like, I'll inform the party like, all right, I kind of know where we are now. I'm not familiar with it at all, but we are somewhere that I know.
Well, that's most useful.
So useful. Very useful.
Thank you, kind stranger. I'll leave you now.
You don't get. I was the one who was leaving. Okay, and he just like keeps walking his horse out of town.
You left me hanging.
Yes, he very much left you hanging.
Proxima will go over and fist bump and go, but like very slowly, and go, maybe next time we work on it first. Yes, like then I think we can all objectively say that needed a little work. But I appreciate what you did out there. Good job. And then she resumes petting the cat.
Gallagher gives you the fist pump and casts guidance on you.
As this happens, Doc just kind of just straightens himself up and he says, "This is going to sound like a reprimand, and it's not, but be careful about mentioning time.
Why?
We are not of this time. We are apparently before. We don't want to say something that might not happen. We don't want to say something that might influence what could happen in the future, unless it's necessary."
Wait, question. Since Taika and I use the same kind of time frame and reference, does that mean Taika is from this world or a similar world than I used to live in?
Yep.
All right.
And something real quick for Doc, is after 20 years, you would know this bit of knowledge. People aren't supposed to know about Gravvicon, and those who do don't anymore. And so if they learn about Gravvicon or seek it out or anything that wasn't sanctioned, as it were, basically if they're not an upper deity who tries to contact Gravvicon Order, it does not end well for them, as that can be, it's one of the most closely protected things. You can't have just anyone know that there's this organization that alters time or the flow of things. And so, yeah, if someone was to know or even be able to be like, oh yeah, Gravvicon's a thing, that person doesn't exist anymore.
Makes sense. Yep.
Okay. So we have to be very careful about who we talk to because we could be responsible for the unaliving of many people. No, leave the cat. The cat can stay. The cat is fine.
He is a bard.
Wait,
you will learn real quick not to let the bard let him be here.
Wait, can I turn to Doc and ask Doc a question?
Yeah.
Doc, is that a familiar, your owl there?
Yes.
Could you again? I had Plague look for the symbol of the cat. Could you look for the symbol of the eye trident, or with the owl? It would be better from a bird's eye view, anyways, as well.
That could be done, yes. And he'll whistle, which I can't do. I'm a singer, not a whistler. And
We'll do it for you.
Exact. Thank you. Yeah, I can. See, look. And yeah, he'll look over at Galileo.
As Galileo's about to take off, I'm gonna touch his foot and cast guidance on him instead, so that he can do his investigation better.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, give Galileo an investigation check.
Cool, great.
Add a D4.
Wait,
Funny
Offbeat's
'cause
character still has the card floating around him.
No, that probably went away. It lasts for 10 minutes.
Oh.
Unfortunately.
Okay, this is gonna be fun. I don't have to do with this because Galileo's stats are trash.
It uses your mental stats, so your intelligence.
You're correct because that was. I'm just gonna go ahead and just you know what? Actually, no. What happens is I'm gonna honor this. That was a natural one. However, as Galileo begins to fly, all of a sudden he stops and he kind of reverts for 2 seconds and then starts to fly again. As Doc goes, "Don't fly that way. Fly the other way." Using his chrono shift, I am using my reaction to force a reroll.
Awesome.
Cool.
Which I can do. Try that again, and I'll actually use my own stats this time. That is a plus a D4. Plus on D4. What is that? 19.
Okay. So what is it that Galileo is looking for?
Galileo is going to look for the eye with the trident. See if anything is sticking out to him. And I'll start with my gaze being in Galileo. And then once it goes past that threshold, if necessary, then Galileo will continue on.
So yes, with an investigation of 19 from a bird's eye view specifically.
Which was bad for me.
Yeah, from a bird's eye view specifically, Galileo goes up and sees something. And how do they transfer that knowledge to you? It's also able to speak telepathically,
which I'm scared for this voice. Whatever you decide to do, if you do it, you did play. So you got to do Galileo too.
Mike and Galileo are going to sound the exact same.
I will say whatever you do, I'm going to take it. But he is a true best friend to Doc. And oh god, I'm just scared to hear what he says.
And so
Yeah.
And so Galileo swings down and says, "There is something in the distance. The symbol on top of a building. Some home has it hastily painted all over the top."
Thank you. This is good to know. And he'll turn and display that information.
So somewhere out in the woods, there is a house with this painted all over the top of
Not
it.
in the town.
Oh, in the woods, not the town.
Yeah, sorry, out in the woods.
Okay.
This is a trap, right?
Most likely.
This is a trap.
Are you scared of a trap? Aren't you a magician?
Oh no, I mean traps are just everything that I do. I'm just saying that this is a trap.
I do not think the poster says that we are to look for the symbol. How would they know about if they know about the symbol, they must know about Gravvicon, and if they know about Gravvicon, they exist. So
they want us to come find them so they can like do something to us and then go kill the rest of Gravvicon. Wait,
I don't disagree with Taika. They could be trying to hunt the agents of Gravvicon, but how would they know about Gravvicon in the first place?
Raphael, how many people know about Gravvicon outside on your missions that you've been on?
Something important that I should point out here is everyone make me a religion check on that symbol.
Well, it's might not be anything.
Actually,
if
sorry.
we all roll really bad.
My rolls have been trash.
Yeah,
I've been rolling well, but I got a -1 to int.
I'm about to go to my physical dice in a second if you keep playing with me, D&D Beyond.
All right, what did we get for Taika and what did we get for Bucket?
13 religion for Taika.
Did you get another fucking natural 20?
I got a 19.
9. I got a
That's
9.
18.
Okay, and what did you say for Taika?
13.
And for Bucket?
9.
Okay, and so 19 for Gallagher and 19 for Proxima?
13 for Proxima.
13. Okay, and how about for Doc?
8.
8, okay. So the highest one there being the 19 from Gallagher. And so Gallagher, seeing this, you had a strange time when you were in the astral plane fighting and training with your astral self.
It was indeed very strange.
And the strange thing about the astral plane is things are a little different there. Things bleed over a little more. And you kind of remember that symbol a bit. It's not from your realm, but you remember it from the afterlife because you are one of you who has memories of that as you spent your time training. And the symbol of the eye with nothing in it, you recall as God. It's just the symbol, the blanket symbol for deity, for God, for greater being. And the trident is the symbol for destruction.
All right, guys. So this may be the time sickness. I'm coining that. But I remember from when I was training with my astral self, he was teaching me the low block. And when I was learning how to low block, you start high, go low, by the way. I look down to my left, and what do I see? But I see an eye. But it's empty, and I knew it meant God. And then I looked to my right, and I saw a pitchfork. Or a trident, and it meant destruction. I have a funny feeling that maybe, just maybe, that symbol means destroy a god. And considering Gravvicon's involved, I don't know exactly what their business is, but I have a feeling god destruction is not necessarily outside of our payroll.
Could it be the god of destruction?
That's also possible, but I like my theory.
I know yours is arguably way cooler. Like I want to be very clear. That's much, much cooler. Yes.
Well, shall we go find out?
Lead the way, Owl Man.
That's Doc to you.
Dr. Owlman.
That works. And he always gets to walk.
I'm gonna hoist him back up on my back.
I crawl back up, and I take out my quarterstaff and like point the way forward.
It's like putting like a carrot on the.
And so you're all pointing. You're heading towards where the owl is leading you. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so this takes you back out of town, And this takes you towards the forest and into the clearing where you arrived. But instead of going this direction towards the road, it's actually turned you now the other direction, deeper into the forest. And as you start to venture into the forest, it gets thicker. And the owl has reassured you that Galileo has reassured you that it's up ahead, but there is a dense, thicker population of trees between you and it. And let me see your survival checks as you guys navigate this forest.
Gallagher is going to, as we enter the denser part of the tree, he's going to be consistently casting Shillelagh on his quarterstaff just to be at the ready.
Sure.
Oh, that's a 7.
Thank you.
I have
Not
plus
till
5.
20.
I rolled a
Nice.
Okay.
I got an 11.
2.
And we got a natural 20 for Raph. What do we get for Taika and Proxima?
21.
And a 10.
Okay. And as you are walking, you're navigating through, having to cut through some spots. The brush maybe leans up against you. I mean, Doc is great at this as they're navigating, also keeping in mind Galileo, and so they're being led on perhaps the nicest path. And the rest of you are kind of maybe fanned out a little bit. You're keeping track and moving together, but some spots, obviously, for Gallagher are a little tougher. But it's not, end all be all here. It's just some spots that's a little muddy. Ooh, there's some trees in your way. Got to backtrack. And as you're getting through, Gallagher,
Mm-hmm.
I need to know. As about an hour or so takes to get through this. Does an 11 hit?
No.
And make a perception check.
26.
The vines underneath your feet, as your foot pulled out of them, they wrapped around what would have been your foot.
Guys, we got ourselves a living plant situation at our toes.
Do
This
you
little-
say that out loud?
I do.
Oh no.
Oh,
Roll initiative.
Yeah.
love it.
Okay. Gucci. This
As
dice.
its surprise attack did not land, but having heard actual prey, it is aware you're there now. All right, let's get those initiative rolls. What do we get for Doc?
19.
Okay. What do we get for Galileo? Gallagher.
Gallagher
bad.
got a 15.
Okay. How about for Bucket?
14.
14 for Bucket. Taika,
16.
16, and Proxima.
16.
Okay. Taika and Proxima, you two will get to choose who goes first when it gets to your moment. But between Doc and this entity, Doc, what is your dexterity?
+3.
All right, so you're going to go first. And because of that, you see it before anything else happens. When Gallagher says this, you look over. Gallagher turned, instead of looking to the direction of where it came from, looked at their feet, and then turned to you all to tell you what had happened. Doc, as you turn, you see the plant and growth around that area now assemble into its full form as a shambling mound is reaching down at Gallagher. And you are fast enough to react before it does something.
Great. And that's exactly what happens. He sees time differently. And it's almost like slow motion as he looks over. And he just tilts his head and he says, "No, we don't need this right now. And there is a time that is actually on his foot. And it says 0925.
Okay.
And as he stumps, everything around just stops for a second, and time starts to coalesce slowly around the Samley Mound. I need them to make a wisdom save.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Wisdom save coming up. And they have a +0, and they don't have anything on saves, right? Yep, so it's just a +0 flat die roll. That's a 13 flat.
That fails.
This thing is screwed.
They are slowed,
Okay.
which means a -2 to their AC and Dex saving throws. Their speed is half. It cannot use reactions on its turn. It only can use an action or a bonus action, not both.
Nice.
And regardless of its abilities, it can't make more than one attack on its turn.
Okay, excellent. And they make those saves again on their at the end of their turns, right?
At the yes, at the end of the turn. They have to make another wisdom save. Yes.
Okay. Anything else? That was an action. You've got bonus action and you've got movement.
I will just kind of just back up and watch, kind of just cross my hands and watch what's happening.
Okay. And so this thing now is moving slower, and it seems you've definitely caught it. And it's still going to go at Gallagher with another attack here, but it only gets one instead of its multi-attack. And with that, that is a flat, with the +7, it is a flat 20 unnatural to hit.
That's gonna hit.
Okay. So that is going to do 2d8. Whoop, and whoop, for a +4 for a total of 9 bludgeoning damage.
Ow.
And it immediately uses engulf, because it's a smash and engulf moment. And it engulfs a medium or smaller creature. So you're medium. You are blinded, restrained, and unable to breathe. You must succeed a DC 14 saving throw at the start of each of the mound's turns, or take bludgeoning damage again. And if it moves, you move with it. It can only have one creature at a time, though. So as it's smashed on, it has now gripped you and only got one attack off. And that is going to jump from its turn now to Taika. Or, well, it's Taika and Proxima. You two are back to back, and you actually get to decide which one of you acts first.
Can I say a quick thing?
Yeah.
Not to negate anything. It only hit once, and it has to hit with both attacks to use engulf.
Shemmy Mel makes 2 slam attacks. If both hit. Oh, okay. Absolutely. Sorry.
I swear, the only reason I know that as well, I literally just DM'd the game this morning with a sampling map.
Okay. So then, yeah.
Damn it, CB's metagaming. No!
You're
No!
not engulfed, so it's unable to engulf because it can't do both.
Sorry,
moves.
not to be
Thanks
that person.
No, thanks to you. That's killer. That's great moving. So yeah, it slammed down and it dealt, but because it's slowed, you're able to get away from it, and that second attack just never comes as it sort of slowly moves. And that moves us over to the choice between Taika and Proxima. So who's going first?
Proxima can
between you
go
two?
first if she wants to. Yeah.
Am I close enough that I could like touch the shad-like mound?
And this is a moment where I'll let you tell me how fanned out would you have been in the moving through the forest, because Doc would have been within 30 feet of Gallagher, and because Doc was leading and Gallagher was off to the side. So would you have been behind Doc? Would you have been in between the two of them, or would you have been farther away? You tell me.
I think I was between the two of them.
Okay.
That makes sense
So,
to me. If we're
yeah,
like
so
kind
that
of
would
in
put
line.
you about 15 feet.
Okay. Then I am going to cast inflict wounds, which is going to necrotic damage this guy. We'll see if it works, though. We'll see what happens.
Okay, so you're gonna run up and you're gonna touch the
Holy
shield.
shit! All right, I'm not mad about it.
What'd you do?
That was a nat 20 plus 5.
Oh shit!
so
You
that
nat
was-
20'd on inflict wounds.
I did. So that was a 25.
Murder. This is a crime.
And it was a 30 necrotic damage
And that's what, it's 3d10, so did you roll 6d10?
I did it in D&D
perfect.
Beyond. Yeah,
Perfect.
so it's necrotic critical damage is 15, but then it doubles because it was a crit.
So what we do is we roll double the dice. That way, if you roll all ones, you don't only get 6, and if you roll all 20s, it's not all.
Okay, then I will re-roll 4 more d10. Give me just
So yeah, you had 15 on the first one, and roll those d10 again.
Oh boy, hold on. 15 and 32.
See, there we go. So it totals out to be 47.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so as you come up and you touch this thing, 47 points of necrotic damage go rushing through it. And yeah, that hits for a gnarly hit.
And as Proxima does this, like her hands begin to glow kind of like a dark blue with magic, and she hits this. And she does it, but you can see that she reacts strangely. Like she does it, and then she immediately pulls away and kind of like turns, and she looks at Taika, and she says, "You're next."
Taika, how do you follow up? Are you staying within reach of it, Proxima? Then?
I'll back up. I'll use that turn to kind of like head off a little bit.
And because of slow, it can't take reactions, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, so it can't attack of opportunity.
Yep.
So,
and so
Taika, your follow-up.
Yep. And so Taika runs till he is probably about 25 feet away, and he kind of pulls like a white cloth out of his coat and puts it over his hand and says, "Everybody look here, but cover your ears." And he pulls it off and he casts Shatter behind it. So it is so it is only hitting it, which is why I ran 5 feet forward more than the
Excellent.
range.
And so yeah, you put that behind it so that the range hits just it and not Gallagher in front.
Yep.
And with that in mind, it needs to make a con save, I believe, right?
Con save, that is correct.
All right, it has a +3, and it is a 12 on the die for a total of 15.
That is DC is 15.
So it saves,
so it does
half
save.
damage.
Yep. And let me roll that. That's going to be 7.
Okay. 7 total or 7 half?
It's a 14 total. So
Okay.
7 total.
7 on that
half-
shatter.
half.
Excellent.
And then he pulls out his deck of cards and flips a card to Bucket for a bardic inspiration.
I love that.
Excellent.
That's so good.
Yeah, and as you throw that card, Bucket, snabs that, and Bucket is now inspired. Okay, that ends your turn, yes?
Yep, I'm done.
All right, Gallagher, you're up.
All right, Gallagher, because he's been shillelaghing this entire time, Shillelagh is up.
Yep.
And so what he's gonna do is he's gonna spin that staff around. He's like, "I never liked plants. I do, but I don't like you." And he's gonna go wickety whack on this boy with his stick.
We can be whack.
That is 14 plus 8, 22 to hit.
Absolutely.
So this is going to be 8 plus 5 damage. 7 plus 5, 12 magical damage. Magical bludgeoning.
Okay.
And then this is going to be the second hit, and I'm going to apply a stunning strike if this one hits. That is a 23 to hit.
That'll hit.
And he's going to spend a key point, and he's going to, stab the staff into it and, bop it on the end. And it's going to, reverberate all throughout its body, and it needs to make a saving throw for me, please. Let me just make sure I know what saving throw this is.
Con, but
We'll just say it's con.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
it is
done.
Constitution. Yeah.
okay. Rolling now, like I said, as a +3, and on the die we have a 15 for a total of 18.
And you see
Ooh.
my hand shift one time. You can see it kind of convulse and almost as if it's fine, and then almost rewinds itself. Go ahead and make that save again. As I
Okay.
use my chrono shift again.
Okay, yeah,
Oh, cool.
absolutely.
Let's go.
Chrono shift applying there to make the shambling mound redo this, and with that +3 added to, that's a 17 this time for a total of 20. So this
No
time it
worries.
did get better. But do we keep the lower roll or do we go
Nope,
with the new roll?
I had one. Yep,
Okay.
I had one, yeah.
So,
All this. Gallagher, seeing that it doesn't work, is gonna. Okay. Well, and then he's gonna go. Guess I gotta do this one. And he's gonna strike the ground, and then his astral self, cosmological arms are gonna just like, boom, flex, and it now has to make a dexterity saving throw. And this
But
is my
first,
bonus action.
Make sure you deal damage from the second attack because you tacked on the stun, but we didn't do the damage.
Oh right, yeah. Ooh, max damage. 8 plus 5. That is 13 magical
All right.
bludgeoning.
Okay, excellent. And then you're going to have it need to make what kind of save?
A dexterity saving throw.
Which it has minus what to, or is it disadvantage?
-2.
Okay, -2 to dex saves, and it already has a -1, so it's a total of -3 on a 10. So that's a 7.
Ooh, it's gonna take all this force damage from the sheer power of flexing, baby. That is 6 force damage or 6 flex damage, depending on what you'd like. As
Excellent.
the arms just, and they are so muscular over top of his shoulders.
Just boom,
And-
six,
And they
six
they
damage.
just pose.
Beautiful. And you are still right up in its face. Anything you're doing, you staying there.
I'm gonna move. I can't take reaction, so I'm gonna move back 15 feet.
Okay. And as you do that, it puts us over to Bucket.
All right, CB, you cast slow on it, right? And it has to make a saving throw at the beginning of every turn in order to get rid of that,
And
right?
end of every turn, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I guess it didn't make one at the end of it.
I was wondering if it. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I was wondering if it had or not. Could you just yes went through?
Yeah, so we'll. Well, it doesn't matter.
Great.
Cool. And if it has multiple conditions, it rolls a saving throw for every single condition, correct? Just want to make sure.
Yeah, it would roll for each thing if it was stacked.
Okay, cool. So if I use Tasha's Caustic Brew, it leaves a trail of acid behind it. If I was up in the air and I shot if a trail of acid at it from the air, would it leave any trail behind it, or would it just land directly on?
So there would be that trail. You know what? Let's get. That's a new spell, right?
Yes.
Shout out to Tasha's Cauldron of everything.
Beautiful. It's a
man.
wonderful book.
That's some
Yeah.
good D&D.
So Tasha's Caustic Brew. Let's get those.
It's
A
so
stream of
funny.
acid emanates from a line 30 feet long and 5 feet wide in a direction you choose. Each creature in the line must make a dex save or be covered in the acid. Uses action to scrape or wash it off. Yeah.
Oh, it's
so
an action. It's not at the beginning of. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
So it would have to burn up one of its actions, which was slow. That would be its whole turn.
Yeah. So, yeah. If I was able to get in the air, could I do that? And would there be a trail behind it still, or?
Yeah, I don't know if it leaves. Does it leave a trail on the floor? It just says that you blast a
Oh, okay.
stream of
Then I
acid
guess
30
I
feet
guess
wide,
I'll.
and if anyone gets hit, it'll be burning them. But
All right, I guess could I use my acrobatics to like use
Yeah.
a tree to like jump and then in the air like to make sure Gallagher doesn't get in the way to shoot it with this acid blast?
yeah, give me an athletics check, or sorry, acrobatics check.
Gallagher about to have a
I was
whole
like-
bunch of acid in his face.
He can take
That
it.
is a 23.
I
Oh,
was
hell
like,
yeah.
have you ever seen Who Framed Roger
it's like
No one cared who I was till I put on the mask.
So yeah, tell me how do you do this acrobatics moment?
all right, so Bucket is gonna look at the scene and he's gonna see a tree and he's gonna run up to the tree and he's going to lodge his he's gonna lodge one of his hand axes underneath it, like throw it in front of him, and he's gonna jump off it into the air, like do like a
So
kind of like
cool.
soar flip thing. And during that he's gonna do like Kamehameha thing, and this acid ball is just gonna fly out of his hands into this shambling mass right next to Gallagher, but just not enough to hit him, obviously.
Perfect. Yeah, a 30-foot line between you and this thing from up above just comes raining down at it, and each creature in the line must make a dex saving throw. And so I'm going to roll the dex save, and it's -3. That's a 19 -3 for a 16, and or be covered in acid. Okay, so what's the save on that? The DC.
It is my dexterity, which is an 18. It's a dex save of 14, so it saves.
Okay, so it saves as this acid splashes down at it, and it takes its like innards and opens up a hole, and acid shoots right out through it and lands splashing in the back.
Gotcha. Okay. Damn it.
No, it is a good move though.
When I land, can I try and land on another tree and use my hand axe to stay up in like on the upper parts of the tree, like the tree line?
You got a 23 on the acrobatics. I'll let you be up there.
Cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm ape strong together.
Yeah, you jumped up and just like shot that, and then you're up on a tree branch. So yeah, you're at a vantage point for sure.
Perfect.
Basically, we'll say that used your movement too.
Okay.
And then do you have any bonus action you want to throw in here?
Do I want to? I guess I could Misty Step and use my action surge, but I kind of want to save those. So I
Okay.
won't.
All right. And so with this first round, this thing comes out of nowhere and attempts to sneak up on Gallagher. And as it reaches up to grab him, Gallagher, stepping out just in time, notices it. Calling out to the party, Doc turns and in time freezes time for the shambling mound. And moving in its slowed state, it hits Gallagher, but not as badly as it could have, and is immediately waylaid on by a mixture of inflict wounds as our tiefling cleric changeling delivers 47 points of necrotic damage throughout this thing as it starts to wither, and then followed up by Taika sending through and giving this shatter with a snap of their fingers, and a blast of sound starts to hit it from behind. Gallagher smashing into it with Shillelagh again and again as Bucket immediately scales up a tree and casts acid at it. Having just enough time to react to that, it opens up and the acid shoots right through. And as it seals up, the battle continues next week.
Oh no!
Let's go.
Pain.
Yeah, I love those
Yeah.
instant initiatives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.